Welcome back to the channel, and at least the 17th background that you've seen over the last couple weeks, because I'm a therapist who works everywhere apparently. But today we are going to talk about the rise of the safe spaces movement and what the original safe space was, which was simply strong men that were doing their duty to protect and provide honor and peace among society. Let's go. Strength isn't toxic, cowardice is. And if you won't protect your family, someone else will. Let's get into it. For most of history, women didn't feel safe because they made the world accommodate to them, and a nanny stated everyone into the abiding by the behavior they wanted. They felt safe because there was a strong man who stood between them and the danger that could potentially come about in society. It's time to return to what it was originally, to be in a safe space, which meant that you were relying upon the men in your life to take good care to protect you from the ills and evils of society.
A university isn't a home. That's not what it is. It's a place to be confronted by, I would say, often horrible ideas. You want to learn about history? You think that's going to be safe? Do you know what human history is like? It's an endless bloodbath with a certain amount of hopeful progress underlying it. It's a horror show, and great literature is like that, and biology is terrifying, and physics is terrifying, and you want to be safe. It's stay home with your mom.
Somewhere along the line, the whole narrative shifted. You told men they were dangerous. You said that marriage was oppression. You said that fatherhood was optional and it was probably better if dads weren't even around. You said that religion was oppressive and anything that came about as a result of a religious orientation in relationships was toxic. You decided that independence meant that you needed to be isolated from men and work a girl boss job and basically do the job of a man, as well as potentially needing to provide for your household, like the household stuff that was typically a wife doing it at home. And you convinced women that relying upon a man was weakness. And I have one question. How is that going for us?
Can confirm or deny this, but they got safe spaces on college campuses. What's a safe space? A safe space is a place where people can go where they may not have to interact with certain other types of people, where they may not need to hear, they may not be, exposed to hearing certain things, seeing certain things, experiencing certain things, or feeling certain things. They call this a safe space.
So instead, the new safe space is the state. We rely upon the state to provide the protection for us. And by the way, the state has released a bevy of criminals out of jails and institutions far too early. They have also eliminated mental health institutions in large part, which I have firsthand experience with as being a therapist in the Midwest. And they're not doing a good job at providing any safety. We HRified the entirety of the world. And if anyone said anything online or in your office that you felt was deserving of condemnation, instead of calling upon men in your life to protect you, or even possibly the bosses in those institutions, you rallied support from behind and came under them and provided a ripe and toxic cancellation for them if they said something that was outside of the box or outside of what you deemed fit.
So safe spaces hinder emotional maturity and growth. The over-reliance and misuse of safe spaces can have unintended negative consequences on our ability to cope with the real world. Overuse of safe spaces can hinder the development of coping mechanisms by creating an environment free of discomfort and failing to teach people the resilience necessary to handle stress.
And look at what we got as the result. As a therapist, I can tell you firsthand that what we have now is a generation terrified of disagreement and incapable of providing the type of reason that's necessary in order to win arguments or in order to defend yourself. Even if it were man on woman in the workplace, they simply fail to use reason, logic, and argument in order to provide for a safety of social interaction. The society thinks safety comes from suppressing speech instead of building up strong people with a defense of speech. And the Bible says we will use our reason to defeat every other ideology out there. And that has simply gone away, and we've led with compassion for sin instead of love for a sinner, and we've in fact reaped what we've sown. Men are now more lost than ever. They're more broken than ever, and they are actually more feelings-based, more sensitive, and more social emotional than has ever been in history. And yet, the men who have spoken to me and been the most socially, emotionally aware are the ones who tend to get the least respect in their marriages. Now, I know that's not always true. I'd like to think that I'm sensitive to what my wife's needs are and she doesn't reject me as some type of beta, soft male. However, the men who suffer the most are the ones whose marriages never established a respect narrative to begin with, because the society and the feminist movement demanded that men be more socially and emotionally attuned, and they have therefore gotten less respect in their relationships over the last 40, 50 years, and they're miserable. Men are miserable, women are miserable, and everybody, this has been the result of relying upon the state to be the gatekeeper of safety rather than yourselves, your husbands, and the men in your life.
What's tearing you apart? It's not easy to go through what you're going through. I want you to know that no matter what comes at you in life, it's okay to be vulnerable.
Victimhood has become a virtue. Dependence has become empowerment, dependence on the state especially. And cancel culture became the modern version of calling in the town guard. We traded strong fathers for strong institutions. We got weaker communities, we got weaker families, and weaker men. However, there is good news. We don't have to live like this. Men are waking up. The Gen Z is coming for the strength and the honor culture that we have been missing. And if we don't help them navigate that successfully so that they resemble less the Nick Fuenteses of the world, who are just griping about seemingly everything, and more the Nick Freitas's of the world, who seem to be trying to be honorable in everything, we will end up with poor results. It's time to build the home again. It's time to build the family again. And it's time to build around a structure of faith again, so that the men who are now replacing the weak men, my generation, who made things as tumultuous as they are, the men coming into the fold will be strong in a way that's honorable, and they will defend the feminine in ways that promote ladies' ability to thrive and actually have the safety that they tried to build around safety culture and the original safe space, which is in the arms of a capable man and a dangerous man. Let's revisit that together. Let's see if we can do it as this right-wing culture takes the Overton window back. What will come out of it? We can build it today, and we can build it together.
Really? Say, congratulations, you played yourself.
Do we want this safe space to go back to the way it was, with the power of the sword instead of the power of cowering and letting the state do it for us? You want a safe space? Build a family. Find a man who is dangerous. Lead as men with strength and compassion. Raise kids who don't need trigger warnings in order to face the world. And be the kind of man a woman feels safe beside. And ladies, the greatest compliment you can give your husband or your boyfriend is to tell them that they make you feel safe. That makes them feel like a man. We should try to amplify what's best about both sexes at this point, because we've been doing the opposite for so long. It's not because she's weak that she wants or needs that, but because she trusts you and your strength. Culture says the future belongs to women first, and then whoever can silence the most voices secondarily, like a big, gigantic HR department. Reality says this is the right wing in us. The reality says that the future belongs to the homes with the strongest leaders. And let's see if we can get that right. Let's see if we can build a future of faith, fatherhood, freedom, and the family. And if we can do that, the original safe space will be rejuvenated. If you can get behind any of that, and you have the ability to follow me through a rant in front of my fireplace, please like, share, and subscribe. I'd love to do it together. Nowadays, you hear everyone crying about safe spaces, but it's time to return to the original safe space, which was simply strong men in marriage, in society, protecting, providing, and being willing to go to the ground if it was necessary. Let's go.